Good morning, everyone. This is the third video of the day. Put my hat on so you take me seriously. Why you're no better than the billionaires and the zillionaires and the people you think are irresponsible with their money. They should pay more and all the fucking crap you guys are fucking putting out there. Like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and things of this nature. All right. So, first off, the left, as of late, they're not for the poor man. Communism, socialism, they don't hate the rich. They just hate the people that are richer than them. So, in Spokane, goddamn, the fucking amount of trucks in this town for an urban center is obnoxious. All right. If you have a 4-door truck that's kind of standard, I'm not really talking to you. If you know, the people I'm talking to, though, but in a way I am. So, if you buy a large 4-door truck for no other reason than if you do happen to get in a wreck, your children will be safe, I get it. Who doesn't get that? But how's that fair to the people who can't afford a larger, expensive, safe truck? You're going to hurt them. Regardless of whose fault it is, right? Maybe it's your fault, maybe it's not your fault. If you drive a truck and you get in a wreck with a smaller car, you're going to probably hurt them pretty bad. And I'm talking about wrecks that a type of wreck that you bought the truck for, not a fender bender, but you're buying that truck in case of some sort of wreck that might have hurt somebody, and because you bought the truck, you're safe. In that wreck, if you're involved with somebody who couldn't afford that big a truck, you've now hurt them because you wanted to be protected, right? You've hurt them because your truck's so fucking big, right? Whereas if you would have bought a car of their size, a smaller car, everybody got hurt, right? So, well, I can justify it. Well, you hurt them worse, though, than if you had their same size, size. Theirs bends, yours doesn't. Okay. Well, what's wrong with that, Kevin? Nothing's wrong with that, per se. But you're doing it because you can afford to do it. These same people probably have a boat, have a recreation vehicle of some sorts that is that they like on the weekends or up in the mountains or something like that, which is loud. Like, I'm not just talking about Harleys. I'm talking about these fucking cars. God damn. So you have all these middle class, lower middle class people who claim the billionaires are acting irresponsibly with loud fucking cars, cold rolling fucking diesels, tires that stick out this fucking far from their vehicle, all these fucking 4-door Jeeps that are wider than fuck, driving around on side roads that there's barely enough room. I've got a mark all the way down my car because this guy wouldn't yield. I wouldn't yield. And to get through, I tore somebody's mirror off because his tires were sticking out that far. I didn't want to hit him. But they drive it every day. Right? They drive these utility vehicles, these fucking tanks, every day. And they put people who can't afford tanks at risk for their own safety and enjoyment and status. But it's not different. If you were able to climb the ranks financial success, the more you grew, the more you could afford, the more you would indulge yourself in your family's safety and fun. Elon Musk has 10, 20 children with different mamas. Maybe if you're that rich, you would too. We don't know. You don't know. You can't say what you do if you were in their shoes. And I'm just saying is, all you fucks refuse to believe that you wouldn't do anything different. You wouldn't do anything different. Elon donates to charity. Elon does a bunch of free shit. Elon gives back a whole fucking bunch. Stop thinking the way you behave is the way you'd behave in all situations. Stop thinking that you're better than a different class of people, because the only difference is you're not that class of people. You're not there yet. I'm not talking about class as in couth or manners or anything like that. I'm talking financial and social status. Much why you behave the way you behave is the pressure of the peer groups you hang around with. This is something I've had to come to grips with. When I made it, became successful, became a college graduate, I was buying a home on the west side, right? Not a very big one, but hey, it was a start. And it was in the hood. And I thought, well, I am going to not disassociate myself from the people I grew up with or the type of places I grew up with, the criminality. And I thought I could do that honorably. And I did to some degree, but eventually it brought me down. I'm not blaming that. I'm just saying the peer pressures of the people I was hanging out with. I started talking like them. I started behaving like them, even though I was a business owner, and it lasted a lot longer than anybody thought it would, because I'm pretty steadfast in my whatevers, but even then, you need the proper peer group to be the proper person. All right. It helps a lot. This is the problem with homelessness and the behavior society is sick of the homeless and the drug addicts, even the ones trying to recover, because the system is set up. If you get to the place where I am, where you're homeless, you're expected to go down there and hang out with all these fucking people that are behaving improperly. And if you don't, now you'll stick out. So in order to survive properly in those situations, you're going to have to look like one of them. You're going to have to behave like one of them, or they target you. Trust me. Right? So, and this is one of the reasons I'm so against getting too close to those programs, those locations, those expectations, because, I know things you don't. But it's easy for someone who, through luck, through character, through hard work, has no idea that the advice and expectations they're telling someone who's fallen on hard times to do, well, go check into a shelter, go get these rehabs, go fill out these fucking HUD forms, blah, blah, blah. How that's, one, it's passing the buck to some degree in some situations, not all. It gives them a false sense of, do the right thing, Cameron. Do the right thing, son, daughter, cousin, longtime friend, whatever the situation is. Do the right thing. Go check into a shelter or rehab, because that's the way to get. It's not. It's not. It's the best way to become more of a drug addict. It's the best way to have your character, your habits deteriorate, create habits that are not beneficial to you, and become somebody you might not recognize. That's what that advice will do. The odds of you successfully navigating that without years of trauma is very low. Well, what should we do then? Hey, I could tell you, but because I'm homeless and I'm struggling so hard to stay sober and find my way back into society, it would almost sound as if I'm blaming people for not doing the things I would suggest to do. Blaming them for my failures and my inability to get off streets. And yes and no, I don't know. Most people can't be kind. Most people can't be actually helpful to anyone outside the people that they're taking care of, and their dependents depend on them. Family first. All right. So if you are unable to help someone because, man, you don't have much in savings, you live month to month, you're struggling to take care of your own people, right? That's the time not to be trying to help others. Because helping yourself stay afloat, helping your children develop proper disciplines, proper structure, proper education is the best thing for society. But you're being taught that if you're not being an activist, if you're not donating to these NGOs, if you're not smiling to homeless people, you're a bad human being. No, you're opening yourself up to harm that you probably can't handle. And this is why you defer to, well, you got to get a shelter. It's a protection, but unfortunately, okay, if these shelters and these rehabs were established as they once were, 70s, 80s, early 90s, I believe back then, and I could be on this anecdotal to some degree, but then again, I've experienced and I've seen how it goes. It's not just anecdotal. They're not the same. One quick proof of concept. There's a major difference in expectation, in the way it's managed, and how it's ran between a poor man's rehab and a rich person's rehab. Now you're like, well, of course, Cameron. No. If a poor person goes to a psychologist, it's a whole nother bag of worms. Is that poor person going to get less worthy psychological help? Imagine. Well, that exists, Cameron. No, it doesn't. If a rich person gets shot in the shoulder and goes to the ER, they're going to do the same procedures as if a poor person gets shot and goes to the ER. Be nuanced. Don't be stupid here. Don't just argue to fucking argue. Try to hear what I'm saying. There's a standard in an ER, an ICU, in the medical industry. You set a broken arm with a cast. That's a basic procedure standard. But when you look at a rich person's rehab and a poor person's rehab, you're going to see a huge difference in just everything about it. And the rich person's rehabs have a higher success rate than the poor person's. Now, a lot of that has to do with financial ability, with a support group after they get out of rehab. Sure. But rich people can get through their rehab because the people there are getting paid good money to help these people get clean and sober. The people at a poor man's rehab are there to get a paycheck, to hand out forms, and if you don't do it, get the fuck out of here. I don't have time for you because I work here. This is my career. It's bullshit. The poor man's rehab, these people don't. It's not my responsibility if you can clean or sober or not. That's on you. They don't say that shit in a rich person's rehab. They don't require you to do a bunch of homework and fill out forms, and they give you time to. They lower the stress level and create an environment where even if you're going through triggers and the problems, the withdrawals and they create an environment where there's less stress, not more stress to do what I say or I kick you out, go to this class, get out of bed, wake up, they don't do it that way in rich man's. So when you tell a homeless person, addict, to go to one of these shelters, you're telling them, go make your life worse, expose yourself to being raped, mugged, abused, or targeted, or lower your standards to become what you don't want to become. That's the solution. There's this middle class self-righteousness. There's this, it's called survivor bias, that people who are successful and are doing well believe and are subject to, that's making things worse. And I'm just trying to explain how the way you see the world and your success and what you've been told is the proper, that don't line up. Rehabs aren't the way to go right now. They're broken. The shelter system puts the already misbehaving criminality addicts with the recently homeless, struggling, not sure what to do, scared addicts, recovering addicts. And if you don't turn into these, your life gets really hard and they don't protect you. And maybe they have now. And look, I'm about to get a program myself, that Salvation Army, The Way Out program on Tuesday. It looks like it's ran right. It provides the right environment. And I'm excited about it. But most of these other shelters are not that way. UGM is a great program if you believe in God and you're of the Christian nature. But it's got some issues that they don't even. They think that their rules are more important than the Bible's, but they're a Christian shelter. Make that make sense. Hubris, pride, whatever. It's happened many times. So anyways, the way that I'm glad you're doing good. I'm glad you're successful. I'm glad of these things. But if you want to help society get better, you've got to unlearn some hard fucking realities. The rehab system's broke. We need a bigger jail. We have to hold addicts accountable in their criminality. NGOs generally aren't that helpful. You're creating a subclass of dependence instead of reintroducing them into society appropriately. These are really bad, broken systems that you're still being told are the proper systems and whatnot. And your behavior isn't any more responsible or better for society than Elon Musk or billions. You just think it is because you don't realize that if you were them, most likely you'd be doing the same things. I know this because as I get pissed off every day looking at all these people making it in their big cars and trucks, I go like, fuck you, too loud, you, what the fuck, big tires, all these things. And I sit there and go, fuck, Cameron, wouldn't you like to drive a four-door Jeep? Wouldn't you like to have a Harley to go fuck around with? Sure. Yeah. I probably would have it. I probably would have these things. And so as I'm thinking about that, you know, one, I gotta stop getting so fucking pissed off at all you fucking dumb fucking yuppies that I'm jealous of. But I'm also trying to say, all right, well, maybe when I do, and I will, get off the streets and become successful, and I start having income and extra money and maybe a side hoe that lives with me and, you know, gets pregnant. You can only hope. I won't just follow the flow and become the things I criticized and hated when I was beneath them.